Reddit, what has this pandemic ruined for you? My parents are sick and I can't go visit them. Mood friend. My father got a terminal diagnosis of 6 months, 2 years about 3 weeks before it got really bad here. He lives in another country and I indicate when I'm gonna be able to visit him. I'm doing extra quarantine procedures to protect myself, but man, I dunno. We WhatsApp and FaceTime all the time, but it's not the same and I haven't seen him in almost a year. On top of everything, the NCAA tournament got cancelled, which is a big bonding thing for the two of us. I'm worried he won't get another one. Sucks. Very harsh. I hope the situation improves for you. Me too. Boyfriend is a lab supervisor, spent the better part of the day trying to track down test results for a parent whose child has advanced cancer and may die any day because the parent is not allowed to visit until results come through. Was unable after hours on the phone, and intends to continue to call every day until he can find the results. Just my career and social life and BD, same. I think that's the worst part, is that people are losing income in their jobs over this entire thing. We all need some form of relief. Last Thursday I sat in bed and scrolled Twitter watching as all my income for the next several months disappeared in the span of 24 hours. I work in the entertainment industry and every single gig I had lined up got cancelled. It sucks. Man, I'm in nightlife and let me tell you, I can relate to that. The place I work at is known for having live performances almost every night. Now that we're forced to close indefinitely, I can only imagine the struggles of our performers. I work on a party boat as a deckhand. The entire company's basically been put on hold. Online dating meet after Corona? Corona and chill? Corona and chills and fever? Hey babe, I wanted to quarantine with ya. Hey girl, a lot of people are making bad decisions during this crisis, and I was just hoping I could be yours. Thanks, I'm using that. That is perfect. My dad's funeral. I'm so sorry. My dad is currently dying of cancer at the hospital alone. No visitors allowed. My mom was kicked out of his room a week ago. It's agonizing that he's alone. These are crazy times. Wow, reading this was an instant kick to the stomach. I feel so sad for your father and family. Yeah, I work at a hospital as security. It's easily been my worst experience here, having to tell family they can't go up to the hospice unit due to the coronavirus locking down my hospital. It's not even in my control. Administration sets the rules and policies and aren't messing around with them right now. Wondering if some hospitals can set up webcams with a screen or something to allow people to virtually visit with terminal patients. That's so sad to think they are locked away to die without their family. My mom turned 60 in April and has never been to Europe, and for the first time I'm in a really good place economically that I got the two of us tickets to fly into London and have a 2-week gallivant around the continent. She never thought she'd be able to go and she's been so excited planning since I gave her the tickets on Christmas. Calling her to tell her we needed to cancel, for now, was really tough. Edit, thanks for the gold. But also donate the money instead. Meals on Wheels is helping feed the most susceptible population, or buy gift cards or take out from your local shops. I've got it lucky that my job was already work from home, but friends of mine who are coffee shop owners are barely inching by with no relief in sight. A gift card is an interest-free loan. There are a lot of sad stories on this thread, but yours really broke my heart. You, for being so sweet and wanting to help your mom, and sensing her excitement and anticipation. I hope you get to do this after the craziness is over. Yep, I agree. Thanks for the kind words. We'll definitely be able to reschedule, which is helpful. The airlines are offering a no-fee rebooking, which is the least they can do, and Airbnb has been really good about cancellations and refunds. Oh, man. That one hurts. That was the coolest gift ever. It would have really been special. Hope it works out. Having loved ones in nursing homes that are close to visitors. The rule is completely reasonable and necessary. Still, we miss each other. They feel isolated and lonely as they're not physically able to talk on the phone, hard of hearing, too, and have no one to spend time with them. This breaks my heart. My mom is in the hospital and I'm scared they will tell us that there is no more visiting until further notice. Also, she is on event, so I don't want it to get to a situation where they are going to choose who gets event and who doesn't, because I know the hospital she is at is already short on them without a pandemic. While it's a reasonable fear, I can't imagine, possibly being naive, that any hospital staff would ever remove event from someone who still needs it. I feel like it's much more likely they would triage the new people coming in based on need and stock levels. Either way, I hope all goes well for you and your family. Times are tough out there. I hate to say it, but in triage, the patients most likely to survive are the ones to get treatment. So if the 90-some-year-old patient on event is less likely to survive than the 20-something patient who needs event, the 90-something will be taken off the vent. That's the situation Italy is finding itself in currently. Sucks, but when there isn't enough treatment to go around, you can only treat the ones who have the highest chance of survival. Why as a country are we not making it our sole purpose to build makeshift hospitals and force companies to crank out vents at an unprecedented pace? I don't understand why we aren't allocating all of our resources to stopping this. Unless we are, I obviously have no idea what's going on or how any of this works. Because we have had to shut down the companies that supply these items to limit the spread. We also have a critical shortage of the staff needed to support new hospitals. I'm an ED nurse. My sister is an ICU nurse. We have staffing agencies begging us to go to NYC to help staff their hospitals. We already have a ridiculous shortage of nurses on a good, non-pandemic day. Building more hospitals won't solve the problem of no staff to fill them. Plus, it's not just vets we need. We need PPE. We need our EMS providers to have the equipment and staff they need. We need people to stop coming to the ER in droves for little shit and clogging up our resources. My kid hurt her foot 2 weeks ago. I cut my finger. I have a headache with no other symptoms. I spilled bleach on myself and now it's red, etc., and exposing themselves to the really bad shit that's there. Go to urgent care or your doctor's office. We need people to stop fighting us when we say no fucking visitors or don't bring your kid to the hospital as a visitor. We need you to cooperate when we ask you to do something and not force us to call the cops when we tell you no. It's a whole dynamic that has been created by the healthcare industry, overregulation by the government, and the absolute babying of patients and family for far too long that is contributing to the spread of this inside our hospitals. We are doing everything we can, but we need people to stop coming to the places where sick people are concentrated and then acting surprised when more people get sick and demanding we do more. Sorry, don't mean to rant, but it's been a rough few days. Companies that make vents haven't closed but in fact have hired extra shifts to try to ramp up production. The government is releasing 10-20K vents from the strategic reserve and the military has a few thousand more they can chip in. Thank you so much for all of the work that you guys are doing. I can't imagine how terrifying it is to come into work during all of this, and risk infecting yourself and your loved ones. I know that doesn't do anything to help you, but just know that a lot of people are very grateful for everything that you are doing. I'm sorry that people are inconsiderate assholes, and that you have to be the ones dealing with them. Thank you. I can't speak for all of us, but generally, we love our jobs. The patients are mostly great, the families can be a pain sometimes and sometimes I want to scream, but I love what I do. If I can make a difference in even one patient's life, then I did my job. I'm a restaurant bartender in Florida. This was going to be a really busy spring break for us after a slow winter that got me behind on bills. They haven't told us to go to takeout only yet, but I feel like it's coming soon. Our neighbors get the bulk of their cash flow during spring break and it tides them over for the rest of the year. Spring break was just shut down, so they're scrambling. This pandemic is really showing just how close to being out on the street most Americans really are. Miss a small amount of work or an event like spring break that you depend on and it's disastrous. 40% of Americans can't afford an emergency $400 expense. Things are about to get really bad. It's crazy that we allowed that to become a normal aspect of our lives. I've been hearing that statistic for at least 10 years. I always thought it was sad, but never took a step back and thought about what the ramifications could be in a crisis. I work in software, and if some project we were working on was exposed to a similar level of risk, it would have triggered multiple meetings to discuss how we can restructure things to mitigate the issue. Edit. Getting some replies about how many families are just spending beyond their means, so they're not saving. I have a few responses to this. We're talking about 40% of Americans. 2 out of every 5 households. The lowest 25% of American families are living off $31K or less. I would imagine that most of the families in that lower quartile are in this category. So at the very least, there is still a huge systemic income inequality that is contributing to the numbers. Even if it was 100% because of people spending outside their means, that wouldn't mean that we can't fix it or improve upon it. Especially since it puts the entire economy at risk, as we are seeing right now. Better financial education in public schools would be a good start. Small businesses. These guys are going to be decimated. Yeah, I own a medium-sized business, 150 employees. I am a natural saver and have been saving for recession since 2016, so I am in a better spot than most, but with the current devastation, I still think we can only hang on about 6 to 8 months. No layoffs yet, just small cut on hours, but the longer it goes there is only so much I can do. Wow, 150 employees, and you plan to survive for 6 to 8 months. Congrats my dude, good job. Meanwhile, much larger businesses with billions stowed away in the Caymans are already shaking the poverty Dixie cup, begging for billions of dollars of free money so they can pay out dividends to the shareholders, or else they'll do mass layoffs after a few days. Oh, they'll do the layoffs either way. Yup, they'll use any excuse to cut costs and boost profits. I'm highly skeptical they'll use much of their bailout money for employees. Bailouts never have helped employees much before. Why start now? I hope you all enjoyed the video. If you have a similar story, share it in the comments below. Be sure to like and subscribe for more. Have a great day, or night.